Once upon a time, there was a magical land with a fancy castle and beautiful forests and lovely meadows. There were rivers and waterfalls and mountains and caves. And inside the fancy castle lived a pretty, pretty princess with a neat green hat.
Oh.
The pretty, pretty princess ran over to the local bard that was there that day. And she helped her with her neat green hat. Because sometimes castle curtains are very distracting for hats. So the pretty, pretty princess with the neat green hat said,
I am a pretty, pretty princess with a neat green hat.
True. The princess liked to do many things, and she also took many lessons. She liked to paint, and she liked to ride horses, and she liked to dance.
I like to dance.
And so she danced. She was, however, very lonely, because there were no other princesses to play with in her castle.
I wish someone would play with me.
One day, the pretty, pretty princess in the neat green hat went out to the lovely meadow to pick flowers. She skipped there. Then she went to the beautiful forest to gather berries. Suddenly, a ferocious green dragon with a silly tail flew down from the sky.
I'm a ferocious green dragon with a silly tail.
The pretty, pretty princess in the neat green hat screamed. The ferocious green dragon with a silly tail took the pretty, pretty princess with the neat green hat back to the dragon's lair, an old cave in the mountains.
I'm taking you to my cave.
The pretty, pretty princess with the neat green hat cried for help on her way.
Help!
Far away, back in the fancy castle, the sweet, wise queen with the special crown heard her daughter's cries for help. She
I
said,
have a sweet wise queen with a special crown and someone needs my help.
The sweet, wise queen with a special crown sent for her very best soldier, a strong, brave knight, and told the knight that someone needed his help. The knight came all the way down to the queen and said, hello. The knight came all the way and said hello to the queen. The local bard was there to help him. Knight, right this way, sir. The queen is right over here. The sweet, wise queen with a special crown knew that her knight would need some secret powers. She called on the magical fairy with sparkly wings to help. The queen said, magical fairy. The queen said, magical fairy, please help my knight.
Please help my knight.
And the fairy said,
magical fairy, sparkly wings. And I need their help.
the magical fairy with sparkly wings had a magic sword to give to the knight. She said, strong, brave knight, here's a magic sword. She said, strong, brave knight, here is a magic sword. And he said, thank you. And the knight said, I am a strong, brave knight with a magic sword, and someone needs my help. Go for it, knight. Tell the crowd gathered here who you are. Who are you? Yes, say it real loud so the crowd that's gathered for your expedition can hear you. Say it nice and loud.
I'm a strong brave knight with a magic sword, and someone needs my help.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
The queen sent the knight to help the princess. And the queen sent the knight to help the princess. She said, hurry.
Hurry, help the princess, my strong brave knight.
And then the strong, brave knight rushed out of the fancy castle. Well, yes. In search of the pretty, pretty princess with the neat green hat, the queen and the fairy waited in the castle where it was safe. They went back to the castle where it was nice and safe. Good job. Meanwhile, back at the dragon's cave, the pretty, pretty princess in the neat green hat was looking around and demanding to be returned home.
I want to be returned to my home. Stay for a while. You might like it. My mommy will give you lots of gold if you let me go. I already have lots of gold. I don't need more. What I need is somebody to play with me.
Now outside the cave, the strong, brave knight with a magic sword heard them talking He said, I must save the pretty, pretty princess in the neat green hat. And then the strong, brave knight with the magic sword charged into the cave. On his way to charging into the cave, he decided to get a drink of water from outside. Luckily, the local bar was there. He charged into the cave. He charged! And the ferocious green dragon with a silly tail roared. The strong, brave knight with the magic sword became very afraid. He said, ah! The strong, not so brave anymore knight dropped his magic sword. Ting, 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 ting. And the ferocious green dragon with the silly tail was about to breathe fire on him.
Feel my face.
Wait. Remember, the pretty, pretty princess with the neat green hat liked to dance and ride horses, but she also took many lessons. One of the lessons she took was karate. She attacked the dragon. And she gave the strong, brave knight his magic sword back. The knight said, take this, you old dragon. And attacked the dragon. He touched the dragon with the magical sword. He took the sword in his hand and he touched the dragon with it. Now everyone should remember that this is a magic sword. After the strong, brave knight touched the ferocious green dragon with the magic sword, a magical transformation